Hi everyone. Today we are going to do something a little bit different now that we are moving into fall. We're not going to be repotting as much as we did previously on my channel, but today we had our first frost here in Pennsylvania, and I brought my ferns in the other day, let them sit a couple days, and I have decided today is the day that I am going to work on trimming these back some. And I am going to show you guys how to go about trimming your fern. As you can tell, these are hanging ferns. They hang on my porch. This will be the 4th or 5th winter I have overwintered these guys. Not hard. These are macho ferns, also known as like a sword fern. I started with 2 originally, split them into 4. I think about 2 years ago I lost one of them, but I still have 3. And some of these guys are getting pretty big. In today's video, we're going to check and see if this needs to be repotted or not. I'm going to take a look, see where the roots are at, because I think I put these guys in this planter. I don't know if you can see down here. We don't really have too much root growth coming out, but I'm going to feel down around the sides, check them out. But I don't think they're ready to be split yet, and some of the heat got the best of them, so I might give these guys a pretty heavy prune this year, trimming them back. So I use one of 2 things. I use my good old like garden shears, and then I have my small clippers for smaller ones, but I pretty much use these in general. So obviously, you know, when you have ones that have brown like this, you know that it is time to go ahead and take those off. A lot of times ferns do better when you cut them back more and give them time to regrow with new growth in the spring. Now, there are some that I don't like to mess with, and I will try to show this to you up close. If you can see the little edges on here and the little like fern, I don't know what exactly you want to call them. They're like little spirals of the fern putting out new growth. I try to leave ones like that to help promote new growth. So I check as I look at each leaf or strand or whatever you want to call it in particular. But yeah, ones that are missing a lot of leaves, like this guy, I'll go ahead and cut back. All of these that are you know, and sometimes I normally would do this outside, but it is too noisy outside my house today. There's construction going on, so no one would be able to hear me, and honestly I probably wouldn't be able to hear myself. So I'm inside doing this, but like I said, I did bring these guys in a few days ago, so I'm hoping there's not gonna be too many surprises in here, because you know, you can get a bird's nest, all kinds of pests, because you figure they've been outside, you know, all summer. At least mine have, you know, since early spring. I put them out and, you know, let them go. So we're gonna go around this guy and trim him up, and I'll come back and we'll talk about the next step. All right, wanted to show you guys, I did a lot of cutting, don't panic. And this guy came out pretty easily. He has been watered, but not super watered. So it came out of the pot easily. And I wanted to show you guys, he has good root growth, but I would not call this root bound. And honestly, I think I would probably do him more harm than good if I split him up this year. I think by next year, I will see a lot more growth, and he will either need to be split or moved into a bigger pot. But I am gonna leave him be. I don't know if you can see like all the new, there's a lot of new growth. Let's sit him down here so he doesn't lose all this dirt. But so I cut back a lot. He's a little goofy looking now. Look at him. He only has 2 long fronds because these were the only 2 that still had growth on the end. You can see here's a bunch of shorter ones that still have good growth. And then even if we look down in, we've got lots of growth for varying heights, all coming up in. So that is good to see. So I think all I'm gonna do for this guy, so you can see I cut him back really good so we get like all of his new growth that wants to come in. I cleaned out all the, I think at one point there was a bird that was building a nest in here and then decided to go somewhere else because there was a bunch of just debris. And like I said, that, you know, that happens with ferns. They make a really great place for, you know, birds to hide and things like that. So it's not surprising to find stuff like that. But I'm just gonna kind of clean up in here, get rid of all the, you know, dried up. I try to cut back as much dried up, you know, old growth as I can. And then I am gonna use some of my inside plant mixture. I do have outside soil, but I'm not adding this much to this guy. And they're also kind of, you know, they like to stay damp, but they don't want to be wet. That is important to remember about ferns. You know, like a lot of other plants, overwatering will kill a fern. So I am just kind of filling in where, covering up a lot of, you know, those top roots and stuff we had, because I think he, you know, he's definitely grown since he was last in here. And I never overfill my pots with soil. If a plant is a little bit smaller for a pot, I put less soil in and fill as they grow. So you see, I just kind of added some of this in. This is a mix with perlite, orchard bark, because I want to keep a lighter, more airy mix. Like I said, you don't want their roots to stay, you know, wet. You just want them damp. That also reminds me to mention So when you bring your ferns in for winter, you do not want to water them like you do outside. So in the, the summers, sorry, just settling some of that soil there. In the summers, often, we just water them every day because it's hot, or every other day, if it doesn't rain, things like that. In the winter, you want to wait until this guy feels dry. You don't want to overwater them while they're inside. They do really well overwintering, but like I said, you can kill them if you water them too much. And I personally get them outside as soon as the weather gets, above, frost. I usually wait till it's at least in the mid to high 40s, sometimes even in the 50s, depending on like the overall weather temperature. But once we get up into those high 40s, 50s at night, not during the day. So usually by that time, we're hitting, 50, 60s during the day. I get these guys outside and they just start growing like crazy. Like I said, here is one that I have trimmed up for winter. I will put him in, see, look, here's the next guy. This guy is even bigger than the one before him. So yeah, I usually keep these guys upstairs, but I don't know if you can see all the plants behind me and beside me, but I have continually grown my plant collection. Maybe a little more than I have room for. So I might actually put these guys in my basement this year. I have a shaded west window in the basement that I think they'll do pretty well in. So I'm thinking about putting them down there this year because ferns do prefer cool temperatures. So if you guys have any questions, leave them down below, and I'm gonna keep on pruning all these ferns because I have a few more to go.